Greetings everyone, I've got a Canton subwoofer rear often. The thing is not the simplest and cheapest. Switches for various modes of subwoofer operation such as room correction, if I translate it correctly, volume level, cutoff frequency, and phase shift. Also, in addition to the usual RCA, there is a high-level input. The power supply is not a small transformer, and of course it doesn't work, but not only that it works, so in addition, another master's hand, not the most careful, has been here. TDA7294, you can see that two resistors have been changed. These resistors are not burned, apparently they just have such a color. Also, soldered out stabilizers 12 volts in the positive and negative arm. The quality of soldering leaves much to be desired, both chips and resistors. Here too there is something incomprehensible. At first I thought that the reason was in the chip, but having connected a signal source to the amplifier input, I found out that even to the chip input the signal does not come. If you connect the oscilloscope probe to the line input, you can see that there is a clear audio signal. If you look at the first or second pin of the TDA7294, there is only a little noise from my lighting and no audio signal. All manipulations are carried out through a protective bulb included in the power supply circuit. From the terminal amplifier board, plus or minus 12 volts, go to this big filter board. And if you touch the output of the stabilizer with a multimeter, you can see that there is 12 volts here, but on the contacts going to the board only 0.4 volts, also in the negative arm, minus 12 and minus 6 volts. If you trace the path from the 12 volt output of the stabilizer, you can see that it ends with this wire, where there was 0.4 volts. There are no additional radio elements here, just tracks. This is where it goes in. This is where it comes out. However, if you touch these two pins in the test mode, the multimeter is silent. It's not here either. And between the wire and the capacitor, it beeps. Apparently, during soldering, the past master damaged the track or the transition hole, and you just need to solder better. Let's give it a try. And the multimeter is still silent. And here it is silent. Maybe there's a broken track at the base of the stabilizer. I'll solder it up and check it out. Yes, folks, looks like it's all about the repairman's handiwork. The connection points between the stabilizer and the tracks are simply destroyed, no transition holes. Now I have to take and rebuild the contacts, both on this side and the reverse side. Restored the contact, let's see. Everything's fine. Now I'm going to deal with the other arm. Everything is soldered and let's check what we've got. 11.9 and minus 12 volts plus. Alright, now let's see if there's a signal at the input of the chip. And we still have no signal at the input. And at the input connector of the board is also absolute zero, both in one channel and in the second channel. I took out the board, figured out what works here. There was a small unsoldered in this place. There are 4 operational amplifiers on the board. 2 TL74 and 3 MC379. They are responsible for all these adjustments and the TL is set on the high level input. And now, if you touch this pin, you can see that there is a low frequency signal. Just like on the third pin of the TDA7294, there is an audio signal here too. But if we connect to the subwoofer speaker output, we see nothing here, there is no signal. Thus, in addition to unsoldered stabilizers, it is necessary to change the low frequency amplifier chip. And it's not right because I jumped to conclusions about the TDA malfunction. It turns out that there is nothing wrong with it. Just in case, I decided to check the voltages on the standby and mute pins, and it turned out that on the 9th pin, this is standby, we have 20 volts, but on the 10th pin only 1.4 volts, while in order for the sound to appear you need to have 3.5 or more volts. And now, if we apply 4 volts to pin 10 from an external power supply and connect the subwoofer, we will hear a sound signal. But it is impossible to listen for a long time because of the strong heating of the chip without a heatsink. Now it remains to find the reason why we constantly have the mode without sound and eliminate it. I suspect that the same poor soldering is to blame. The mute mode control comes from this board, namely from the operational amplifier TL074. I traced the path from pin 10 of TDA7294 to this pin. Here we have a capacitor, then a diode and a resistor. On one side it has 10 volts, on the other side it varies from 0.3 to 1.5 volts. The resistance is 1 kilo, but instead of 1 kilo the multimeter shows 4 mega ohms, somehow a lot. Now I'll replace this resistor and see the result. Yes. Check measurement. And we see that it has no resistance at all, that is, the resistor is broken. We had mega ohms on this board. First switch on with a new resistor, and see what happens on pin 10. It's about 5 volts. Everything should work. In order not to burn the chip, now screw the board to the heatsink and pile on the music and a little cosmetic tidying up of the amplifier board. Everything is ready, now we can listen.
Минимальный срез 55.
And now together with wideband speakers. It's not too noticeable on the recording, but in fact the phase adjustment is very well felt. The bass changes from humming, sustained, to very clear, but it's a matter of taste. Who's interested? Music from Benad Production? Link to them in the video description. Bye bye.